Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about your making a resume assignment. So in Canvas we've got a couple things here. In 6.2 we talk about a couple of different things about resumes, both how to make them and the parts that they should include. Your resume should include 5 things. It should have your contact information. That's things like your name, your address, and your phone number. It could also have stuff like a portfolio website or an email address if you would like. It could have social media account information, but that's normally really only if you're old and you have professional social media accounts. If you don't, I would definitely not put my social media information on my resume. The second thing your resume should have on it is an objective. An objective is a short statement where you kind of talk about the skills that you have that would make you good for the job that you want. It's normally stuff like to use my retouching and lighting experience to gain additional experience in the photography field. It's not something like get a job to make money. Think about what you have that would make you somebody that a business would want to hire. What skills you have. They could be social skills, they could be soft skills, they could be communication skills. All of you have different skills that would make a job want to hire you. Next, you want to have your educational history. For you guys, that would be like the name of your high school, when you're planning on graduating. If you have a brag-worthy GPA, you could include that there as well. If you're planning on going to college, you could list your college there. I would really probably only list it if it's local. If you're going to apply for a job locally, but then say you're going to go to college in another state, a business might not hire you because they know you're going to be gone. But yeah, you can also list the ATC under your educational history as well. So that's 2 different schools that you could list there. Work experience. Now this is kind of where we're going to kind of add to it a little bit. You want to list a couple of specific things whenever you're talking about work experience. You want to list the name of the business where you worked. You also want to list what you did there, your title. So if you're at Subway, you're a sandwich artist, right? And then you also want to list the specific items that you did in your job. So that might be, customer care, that might be stocking, that might be inventory, things like that. There are certain types of strong action verbs that you can use that will make your resume or your experience sound better than others. Now, when we say work experience, we're kind of expanding that definition. That could be babysitting, that could be volunteer work for a church, that could be something you did to help your parents or grandparents. Kind of, if you don't have a specific job that you've actually worked at, you're kind of open to, or that's open to interpretation. And don't leave it blank. And then skills. You guys all have skills that you might not necessarily think of as skills. You probably all have Google Docs skills, right? You have word processing skills if you know how to type in a Google Doc. You might have, you guys all have Photoshop skills. You could list that as well. There's a lot of different things that you guys are able to do that come easy to you that adults or people that are middle-aged might not know how to do very well. So you want to list those things, and they're normally going to be probably more technical abilities here in a specific section marked as skills. If you're bilingual, this would be an excellent opportunity to type that. If you have good typing speed, you could list that as well, and any other computer programs that you guys are pretty skilled at. And then last but not least are references. For you guys, you normally want to have 2 or 3 different references. I would say if you have 3, 2 of them should be professional, and then 1 of them should be personal. None of them should be like your mom. Nobody should have the same last name as you. Professional reference is somebody that you've worked for in a professional capacity. That could be a manager, that could be a coworker, that could be a boss. That could also be somebody that you volunteered for. So like maybe like a church leader or a teacher, or like your Girl Scouts leader, something like that. And I'm happy to be a reference for any of you guys. If you feel like you've done good work for me, that would make me want to be a good reference for you, then go for it. And then last but not least, you want to have a good design for your resume. Don't have too much blank space. Use consistency throughout your fonts and alignment. Which brings us to 6.3 in Canvas, which is where you actually make and turn in your resume. I've got 2 links here. Let's see, let's click on them. These links take you to resume templates. Here you can download and open up these resume templates. Some of them are for Photoshop, some of them are for Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And this other one brings you to some resume templates specifically from Google Docs. So you can just open one up. Let's open up this one. And replace, since it's a template, it already has stuff, and you just replace the information that it has with your information. So if I'm looking at this one, I can see that I would probably switch some of this stuff around. Like I would definitely, I'm replacing it with my information, but I see they've got work experience, they've got education, they've got skills. Now what I don't see is an objective. So I'd probably put an objective somewhere towards the top. They've also got your contact info, which is great. I also don't see a references section. So I'd probably get rid of awards and change that to references. And if we don't need languages, we can just highlight it and get rid of it entirely. Let's take a look at some real quick and see what previous students have done with their resumes. So we can see some good ones and bad ones. So this one I feel like is pretty good. When you save yours, save it as a PDF. That's something that you could still adjust later on, but also as PDF is something that other people can open. So they've done a good job of talking about their work experience. I would probably, if you can list 2 things, that would be ideal. One is okay. So we've got the name of the business, we've got the location of the business, we've got their job title, we've got the date of time that they worked there, all of those things that you need. And then they kind of talked about, they went into specifics about what they actually did in that job. We've got their education. We also have their skills and references. We've got contact info at the top and then some other additional information. I would say probably might be a little bit bare. If we could fill in a little bit more information, that would make it even better. Also, nobody cares if you know French in Texas. Unfortunately, unless you're working at maybe a French restaurant, but aside from that, that might be something you want to leave out. Compared to this one, which looks a lot more bare, you can see that things don't line up. That's why I'm saying alignment is important with this. They've kind of moved things around, and we have multiple different types of fonts. And there's some typos in here as well, and it just looks bare. If you open up a resume template that has these skill bars like we see down here in the bottom, just delete them. They're terrible. I'm not sure why anybody would use those. But yeah, so this one, not exactly what we're going for. The other one is better. You don't need a photo of yourself on your resume. I would always delete that part and get rid of it. And you can see here in work experience, he just kind of listed different things. You need to know the name of the business, the length of time you work there, where that is, other information too. So yeah, that was an example of a good resume versus a bad resume. Make sure yours is letter size, aka 8.5 by 11. If you don't want to use a template, you can create one from scratch, either in Photoshop or in Google Docs or whatever you'd prefer to do. There's some guidelines here. Make sure you have all of those sections. I guess I said 5, but it's 6. Contact info, your objective, education, work experience, skills, and references. Your reference should list the person's name, how you know them, and then some way to get in contact with them, be that maybe a phone number or email. Nothing larger than 12 points for your font. And then I've got some little steps here that you can go through when you're actually trying to create it. But that is how you create your resume.